So I wanted to talk to you today about some things that actually I have taken for granted for a long time, and I realized how important these things are in helping me to feel healthy, feel physically, mentally, and emotionally strong in my life, because for a long time I wasn't. For a long time I was, and that's unfair. I was strong in certain ways, but I didn't feel healthy in those areas. I was always strong. We are always strong. We are always resilient people. We can handle pretty much whatever life throws at us, but we might feel pretty broken in the process, and we might feel like it's hard work. But there've been things that I've used in my journey from like kind of corporate burnout to recovering from cancer to starting up my own business as a coach to help other women manage their stress, live healthy, amazing, happy lives, that I've actually taken for granted a little bit. And what I realized is how much they help me. And if they can help me this much, then they can help you that much as well. So I'm going to talk about those in a sec. And I'm going to just quickly share these things. So how are you guys doing? If you're watching, say hello. How are you doing? I know the comments are sometimes delayed. I know, Beth, you were watching last time and your comments were coming through late. So I'm sorry about that. And I'm just going to quickly share this. So anybody who's not on my page, if you're watching the replay, then just make sure if you want to catch these live that you are set up for notifications for when the Amroo page goes live, because in that way then you can get to ask any questions, you can get to check in on how you're doing. I'd love to hear about any what resilience and kind of life happiness tools you're using, and I'd love to hear your take on things as well. So just going to share this quickly and then we'll kick off, because I think it's useful to share this. And if you're just joining now, like, and you're going to see the side of my head, then I am here. That's if people are listening. Sometimes if it's on silent and you're like kind of all you can see is a head or the side of a head, that might not be so useful. Okay, so let's do this. So I'm going to start. Okay, so yeah, so as I was saying, I kind of been using these techniques for a while. Not these techniques, whatever you want to call them. They're kind of areas of work, they're tools, they're kind of ways of doing things, and you can call them what you like, but the fact is that they work, and they have made a massive impact to me, who was someone, if you'd known me sort of like 6 years ago, it would have been you kind of see on the outside this kind of literally perfect woman who had it all, who kind of, had the confidence, had the accessories, the clothes, the shoes, the car. I still love all those things. I still have all those things. But on the inside, I was dying. I wasn't happy, and I felt resentful because I felt like I was stuck in this place of, I don't know, like this continuous cycle of work and not sleeping and feeling sick in my stomach. And hey Caroline, how you doing? And talking about, if you'd known me 6 years ago, kind of how you would have found me. And I kind of had this kind of constant feeling of ickiness, and how it didn't matter what I did, I couldn't really get it to go away. And I would want to not feel anything. And so I would carry on working. I loved my job. I did love my job. I loved the people I worked with. I wanted to make a difference, and I still always do. That is kind of who I am. I always want to make a difference with the work that I'm doing. And the difference was that I didn't know when to stop. The difference was that I didn't know when to say no. The difference was I didn't know when to choose me. And I didn't know how to. I would feel guilty if I said no to people. I kind of went over and above overcare, which is a thing. There was overcare, and sorry to hear that you're feeling tired, Caroline. And and it's it was like that all the time. And I would go to sleep feeling exhausted, and I would wake up feeling exhausted. And when I then was diagnosed with cancer and had to go through the treatment and the recovery, I had the biggest thing that came out of that was that I had to take responsibility for my life, and I had to take responsibility for what I could do and the changes I could make, not the medical professionals, not my employers, what I had to do. And that didn't happen overnight. It happened through a period of time, but I didn't know I was doing it. I didn't know a lot of this stuff that I was doing at that time, but I did it because I kind of was following my gut instinct by that time. And I made certain choices. I went back to work after 15 months, and I wasn't happy anymore. And I knew that there was something, my purpose wasn't the same anymore. I needed to do something different. So I did leave my job and I did set up my business. But what was the bit, that's not the story I'm telling you today. I'm kind of giving you that background. But what I want to share with that is how did I change, or what changed for me and has stayed that way in terms of my health, how I feel physically, mentally, and emotionally. I was always run down. I would always catch the latest bug that was going around. My self-care was reactive. And that meant I was good at having massages, seeing the osteopath, going on beach holidays, and as you can see if you're joining, say hello if you're joining, because I can't always see names come up. So say hello, welcome. And I was good at those things, but it was reactive. It was when I was exhausted, I would do those things. It was when I was tired, I would do those things. And rather than I feel like doing those things, or doing them from a point of self-care, that it's a balancing act of doing all of those things together, that it's not a reward because I've worked 14 hours in the day and now my back really hurts and I have to go and see the osteopath. And I wasn't good at celebrating that sort of thing. I wasn't good at celebrating me. And now I am physically, or I feel physically, mentally, and emotionally strong. And I feel resilient, and I have evidence of this, and I'll explain that to you because I think this is important. This is one of those things that is really key that I've underestimated. So I wonder how you feel about this. So I'd like to know how you feel and what you think about this as I share this with you. Is thanks for the likes, Caroline. What's resonating with you? If it's something resonating, I'd love to hear it. And I want to share what's changed for me, because I know that this can change for you too. So if you are feeling stuck, if you are feeling like life is that same old cycle every day and you feel like you can't change it, if it feels hard, if it feels like you're kind of almost on the edge of burnout, because you do not, I learned these lessons because I went through that burnout. And I went through, body changes and having to make life decisions that nobody should have to take. Nobody should have to make those decisions about your body, about your life, about, your relationships. And, and I'm here to tell you that you can do those things before you get to burnout stage. We're in a stress epidemic. Like, that's what the newspapers are reporting. That's what social media tells us globally. Like in our Western countries, where in the first world countries, the UK, America, Canada, all of these places, Europe, other places in Europe. I always say the UK and then other places. And it's a stress epidemic. We don't have to get to burnout stage to make these changes. This is why I want to share this. This is my work. This is why I want things to be different for you. And my point is this: if I can do it, anybody can bloody do it. If I can get through burnout and cancer and then turn my life around and have a business that I love, then you can do that too. Okay, I mean, I'm not saying you have to, you have to go and leave your job and start a new business and all of that. But what I'm saying is you can follow your dreams. You can change your life. And it takes 3 things that are really have made a difference to my life that I've, like I said, how I've underestimated. Now, I woke up this morning feeling stressed. I have been feeling stressed. Stress does not go away. It's how we respond to that stress in our life. We will always be faced with challenging situations. And if you're a perfectionist like me and you think, shit, I've got my life figured out now, this thing that comes along and okay, I've gone over this, I've managed this in my life and I've done this, okay, and I've figured this out about myself and it's done now. I know myself. And I've really had to learn that that's not the case, that life is a journey. And now I'm a recovering perfectionist, which means that I have to keep that part of me in check. And it's useful to have a perfectionist around because I get things done and I get things done well, but not when they stop me and get in my way. I digress there. But my point is that this: if I can make those changes, then you can make those changes. And I woke up stressed today. Stress does not go away, but I know how to respond to it. I know how to deal with it. I have a toolkit, and I have worked out these things over like 6 years. And you don't have to do that. I want to share these things with you so you don't have to. You can do it quicker than I can. But change doesn't happen overnight either. So I'm telling you this for a reason. I woke up stressed. I woke up at 5 a.m. I was like kind of tossing and turning about things like, I've just moved house. I have my own business to run. I have to bring in my own work. Family stuff's been busy. My sister's getting married. Like there's lots and lots and lots of stuff going on. And I was tossing and turning and I was like, you know what? I am stressed. Like I said those words to myself. And for a long time, I couldn't say those words because I was like, oh, well, I'm a resilience coach. I shouldn't be stressed. But we can't. Stress does not go away. We can get stressed at any point. And what does that mean? Stress means something different for everybody. For me, it means when I feel sick in myself, when I'm not looking after myself and my body, when I might not be exercising, I might not be eating the food that I love to eat, that I really love to eat, which is healthy food, but I feel like I can't be bothered to make it, or I don't have the energy to make it. So stress can hit us in so many different ways. It could be that bubbling feeling of anxiety. It's knowing your triggers, your body triggers, your emotional triggers. If you're crying all the time, God, I used to spend a lot of time crying. I'm still a crier. I accept that. I'm okay with that. I think sometimes you have to have a good cry, because if you don't, then there's things that crying does that words can sometimes not articulate. Yep, stress load everywhere. Yeah, there is a stress load everywhere. And crying is sometimes that's all you need, and then it's gone, But there were times when I would cry all the time because I didn't know how to express myself, and I didn't feel good enough. And that was the only thing that would release from my body was tears. And so if you find yourself feeling stuck, you find yourself crying, you find yourself not looking after yourself, and then feeling guilty that, and feeling guilty. So I don't mean like you can't treat yourself to something that you don't want to eat all the time, like chips. I love chips. But then when you feel guilty afterwards, that's what's harming you. And so I woke up feeling like this in this state, and I admitted to myself that I felt stressed. And I thought, you know what am I going to do about it? So I decided to get out of bed early. I usually get up about 6:20. I know it's a weird time, but 6:20 it is. Sometimes I have a 10-minute snooze, but sometimes I don't. And I think it was 10 to 6 or something, 6 o'clock. I got out of bed, and I asked my body what it needed. And I knew I needed some exercise because I haven't exercised for a while. I went out for a walk yesterday. If you know me, you know I love nature, I love trees, and I've just moved to this new place, kind of little village. It's not far from where I used to be, it's about 20 minutes. There's still lots of planes overhead, so I'm near Heathrow Airport in the UK, and so I'm kind of used to that. But, you know, I experimented yesterday in the snow, in the freezing cold, with some of the walking around here, but I haven't really been exercising that much. So I knew I needed to move my body. And I knew I wanted to have a shower, move my body, and then I was going to do my breathing tools, which are my specific stress management, resilience tools, like scientifically proven stuff that's actually so bloody simple to physically, mentally, and emotionally kick your stress out, literally. And I do that 20 minutes a day most days. And it was simple. So I had my shower. I did 30 minutes of yoga. So afterwards, but I wanted my body to be warm. I knew I wasn't going to sweat. So, you know, usually I would kind of exercise and then shower. So I got my yoga mat out, 30 minutes. It was what I needed, but I still felt sick. I still felt a little bit stuck. And so I did so I sat down to do my deep breathing technique. And within 2 minutes, I noticed a shift. And I had evidence for it. And this is one of the things that I'm going to explain to you in a minute. So I have this biofeedback technology that I use with these techniques, with these tools that I use. And I could see the change in my body. And what it measures is the physiological impact. So by physiological, I mean physical, mental, emotional balance in my body. And it tells me if I'm in red, blue, or green. And if I'm in green, I am coherent, which means I am in sync, I am balanced, even if I'm not feeling well in myself. And I also have a cold coming on. So this is, you know, like my immune system isn't great right either at the moment. And I was still in the green. And what this told me, and that the green might not mean much to you, but the point, hear me out, the point is this, is that I have raised my bar. In the 6 years that I have been doing this work, in the 6 years that I have managing my health, I have raised my bar so that even when I am stressed, even when I wake up feeling sick, even when I know that I've got all these worries in my head that really I shouldn't worry about, I should be feeling in alignment and I should feel happy and grateful and all of that stuff, but it still gets in the way, I have raised my bar and I know that my health is good. I know that in here and in here and in here, I am good. And it's evidence. And sometimes we need that evidence and we need that reassurance to know that we are making progress. Because we forget that. When we're stressed, we're kind of in this, and I've talked about this before, you might have heard me talk about this before, is we are in that narrow blinkered state of vision where only this is possible. And when we can start doing some of these techniques like the one I do, I'll give you one of the basic ones in a minute. We can kind of open up our vision. We can open it up. So evidence is important. Evidence is important in any work that we're doing. So there's three things that I was saying that I have kind of taken for granted here. And that story kind of tells you what those are. One is commitment. When I became ill, when I had cancer, after that, I had to take responsibility for my body. And whether I realized it or not consciously, I committed to changing my life and changing my health. And I wasn't a qualified coach back then. I did my coaching qualification in 2013/2014, and all of my stress management training and my resilience training and my group training, all of that stuff I did in like kind of 2013, 2014. And I didn't know that stuff then, like before then. So when I decided that, I kind of subconsciously decided, because our body always knows what we need. I had committed to myself. And now what I have to do is sometimes I have to remind myself, what am I committing to here? So I had committed to my health without realizing it. And that was through the second thing, which was consistency. I had learnt these new ways of breathing. I'll show you that in a minute. And I had learned, and I built them into my life on a daily basis. So when I show people these techniques, when I work with people, particularly with highly stressed people, I actually ask them to do these techniques on a daily basis to begin with, until they can find their rhythm, until they find something that works. Because when we are stressed, it's a habit. We are, as humans, we are born and we are set up to look for negative bias, to always be on the kind of lookout for fear, for danger and what's going on. So of course, we haven't evolved that danger system. Our emergency response system, an alarm, hasn't changed over time since the caveman days. Everything else in the world has. So our body and the way our emergency response system works is still on like version 2.0, but we're living in like a version 7.0 world, and that's constantly being updated to 7.5, 8, 8.5, 9, with social media, with what our expectations are of each day, with what our demands are, with never being able to switch off. Our version of the world is constantly being updated, but our body isn't. So our body, our fear factor, our emergency response system doesn't know that 1,000 emails is not real danger. It doesn't know that feeling frustrated in peak time traffic is real danger. And I was going to say, well, we know we're not going to die from it, but actually people are dying from these things. So it's the long-term prolonged impact of always being on the edge, of always being switched on, of your emergency response, kind of all of the hormones like cortisol, which are your it's called the stress hormone, but we do also need it. If we didn't have cortisol in our body, we wouldn't wake up in the morning. Oh, my battery's gone low, and actually I've got my charger here. Lovely, I love it when that happens. And so I'm just gonna put my charger on. So all of those things, all of those hormones of feeling them and having them flooding your system on a daily basis over a period of time, a prolonged period of time, is gonna eventually kill you or harm you in a way where illness or disease comes about. I honestly, truly believe, I don't know if anybody can prove it to me, or I don't really care about proving it, but I truly believe that my cancer came about because of my stress, because I didn't know how to manage it. It's not my fault, but I didn't know how to manage it. And I wish I'd had someone like me in those days to show me that there's another way, to show me that there are simple ways. That's not the same as being easy or quick. Some of them are quick, but it's not the same as being simple. These things are simple. We have to commit. We have to create consistency. So my point is this: I have those things consistent. I've created a consistent practice over that time period where now, like today, when I am pretty stressed, I acknowledge it in the moment. It doesn't take me that long to overcome it. And I can then move on. My vision, my perspective goes like this, which it has been probably for the last couple of days, to this. It opens up and I've got 1,000 ideas. I wrote an article this morning for LinkedIn for some organizations I want to do some work with. All of a sudden, everything changed. You become and you feel more resourceful. And that resourcefulness is always there. But if your thinking center can't, and it's not necessarily there, but I'm just using it as a prop. If your thinking center can't switch on because your emergency response system, again, I don't know where it is. I don't think it's there. I'm not a biologist. If there's any biologists listening, please tell me where it is. Your amygdala, your thinking center, your emergency response system takes up all of that space in your brain, and your thinking center then doesn't have space to think about its resources and let them out. It can't do it. So we have to shut down or reduce the space and the impact that our amygdala, our stress response center, is taking, to then allow our thinking center to say, well, hey, what about these ideas? You're actually not that bad off. And we can do that through this simple, very simple, basic breathing tool. People have used this for 2 weeks and they have made a difference to their life. If you do this technique for 5 to 10 minutes a day, you will change your life in terms of how you feel, in terms of reducing anxiety, in terms of sleeping better, feeling lighter, feeling like you have a choice, making better decisions. And it's literally this. It's breathing deeply and evenly and comfortably. I'm glad you're loving this, Caroline. I invite you to take on this breathing technique for 2 weeks and see what happens. Breathing deeply and evenly and keeping it comfortable, because sometimes we're not used to breathing deeply. So I don't want you to stress yourself out by how you're breathing, but breathing evenly and keeping it comfortable through the area of the heart. The heart is so powerful in how it manages the rest of the body. Honestly, it's like that biggest pendulum in the room phenomenon. That, so if you have lots and lots of pendulums in the rooms of different sizes, eventually they're all going to start sinking in to what the biggest pendulum in the room is doing. Look it up. The heart is the same thing. If you can get the heart to sync and do what you need it to, all the other organs in the body are going to do the same thing, including the brain. So, breathing through the heart deeply and evenly for a minimum of 5 minutes to 10 minutes a day will change how you feel, physically, mentally, and emotionally. If you can do it for 10 minutes a day, you will notice a difference within 2 weeks to your sleep. I want to know if you're going to do this, try it. Let me know how you get on. Type it in here. Even if you're listening to the replay, let me know if you're going to try it. It's called heart-focused breathing, and it is scientifically proven to change. I have worked with insomniacs who have started sleeping again because they've committed to doing this. Notice the word commitment. I didn't do it for them. They did it. I just showed them. All I am is your guide on this. Commitment. I did this work for myself because it was that important to me. Nobody makes me do it. Commitment. Consistency. Doing it every day. Minimum 2 weeks, and then it will change, and then you can start finding your own rhythm. So although I do this on and off throughout the day, what this technique is doing, breathing through the heart, is it's neutralizing the harmful hormones in your body. So it's neutralizing the stress that's being caused in your body, and it's rebalancing your body. Basically, it's bringing your body back into sync. Okay. And so the last thing was, so committing to doing this. Are you committing to changing your life here? And then it was consistency, doing this every day, noticing the difference. And the other reason why we need to do this regularly and to begin with daily is because, like I said, we're used to the negative bias. We're used to looking for faults. We're used to looking for the thing that's not working. And if that's what we've always been doing, that's what we're going to look for. So we have to change that habit. All it is a habit. So we have to change that. So consistency is the other thing. And then the third thing is evidence. You could also call that reassurance. It doesn't really matter. So my evidence is I've got this biofeedback technology. It's not the only evidence I have. But the evidence, and you could go and buy these. You can message me afterwards if you want to go and buy this. But they're not cheap. Because the thing that's free is the tool that I've just shown you, because I use this tool in conjunction with the biofeedback technology. It's an ear sensor, and I can see how I'm doing. I can see that physiological change in my body and that shift. And I can see that progress over a period of time. And why this works really well is because we kind of become a bit numb to how we're feeling. If we're feeling crazy stressed or anxious, or and depression is another example, because it's kind of quite numb. I've been there too. And brilliant, Caroline, I know you've been on a couple of these before and you've tried it before, not as long as 5-10 minutes, but when I did do it, I did notice a change in myself, more calmer. It's about the consistency. So try it for 10 minutes a day, or split it into 2 5-minute slots if you feel that you can't do it, you can't find 5 minutes. I would challenge you on, you can't find 10 minutes in one go. I would challenge you on that. But if you can't, and you can split it into 2 5-minute slots, if you find yourself feeling sleepy when you do this, what it means is normal. What it means is that you are not used to feeling calm, and you're not used to your nervous system slowing down. So it's telling you that you need to sleep and you need to rest. So if you're feeling sleepy when you do this, do it before you go to bed, and it will really help you sleep better. What was I saying before? So I was talking about consistency, and I'll come back to me. So I was talking about consistency, and the other thing was evidence. So I was talking about the biofeedback technology. So I can see the difference, and I can see progress over time. We become numb. So things like depression, we stop feeling because it hurts to feel sometimes, and it's not really the feelings that hurt. It's or the emotions that hurt. It's the resistance to feeling those things that we think are going to harm us when actually they're not. Either way, we don't want to feel them. So we kind of feel numb. And when we start to do this work to begin with, we might not necessarily notice a difference straight away. But what the technology does is it shows you what difference you're making in your body. It gives you reassurance that, you know what, I'm doing something here. So I want you to, if you don't have the technology, it doesn't matter, do the work. I want you to start creating evidence. I'm glad you're loving this, Caroline. I want you to create the evidence. So, and that could be anything. That could be writing down how many times you did this heart-focused breathing. It could be what you do to celebrate your little wins. It could be, so choose this. You don't have to do the heart-focused breathing. You know, do something that consistently helps you to feel less stressed, or feel more relieved, or feel less anxious in your life, or feel less stuck in your life. It could be reading, it could be going out for a walk in nature. I choose different things on different days, but it's choosing to do them regularly. And so make your own rules up. You know, do it your way, but do it consistently, and it will make a difference to you. And then the third, so the evidence. So choose, write down the evidence. If you've walked in nature, write down how you felt about it. Write down when you had last had a laugh with someone. You know, write down what makes you feel good. I want you to start looking for the evidence of not stressed or not stuck. I want you to start looking for that evidence, and you will start to shift it. And it's also reassurance that, you know what, life isn't all crap. There is other stuff here that I am grateful for. And I'm not talking about forced gratitude. And I'm not saying that, you know, I'm worse off. I could, you know, it could be worse. We're so good at that. You know, it could be worse. Yeah, it could be. But that doesn't take away from your pain right now. But what we're saying is, I'm also grateful for this in my life, and I want more. So what are the things that you feel grateful for? What are the things that show you evidence that you are doing good? Look those up, start writing them down, doing it every day. Those 3 things have had such a massive impact on my life, and I've underestimated them, because how I was able to shift how I've been feeling for the last couple of days quickly, I do that all the time and I haven't acknowledged it. And that's been done through the kind of way I've worked over the last few years, the knowledge I've gained, the investments I've made into learning this stuff, into sharing this stuff, into having coaching, into reading. I've learned this stuff and I've employed it and I've invested it into my life, and I've made those changes. You can do that too. I'm telling you this for free. You could do that too. And I will also say this. If you want additional support, if you want your life to, if you see yourself in the scenarios of how I used to be, and you'd like it to be more like how I am now, and you want a bit of that, you're like, you know what, I want a bit of that, then let's talk about how we can work together. Message me and we will have a discovery call. You can message me if you want to talk about it, but I'm going to put the link in below as well. So we can talk about, we'll have a deep coaching session, because I like to work deep. If you're not ready for it, then that's not the work for us. Then we can talk deeper. We can help you get unstuck, maybe in that one session. And then we can talk about, okay, what does it look like for us to work together longer? Because I have worked with women who have committed to this, who've done those 3 things. They have changed their lives. Like, it is life-changing. I've worked with women who have been burnt out, who have been made redundant, who are like, what do I want to do with my life? The frustration. How do I change this? How do I change it now? How do I change it now? And what I say to them is, how long have you been stressed for? let's slow this down. That's what my body told me this morning, was slow it down. And so I appreciate the frustration of when you're feeling that way, because I feel it a lot and I have to remind myself to slow it down, and then I just don't want to hear that, and it's like, don't tell me to slow it down. This is me talking to myself, by the way. So slowing it down makes a difference, but having someone accountable, having someone guiding you through this, having someone coaching you through this, having someone hold you accountable when you don't feel like doing this makes a difference, and your life will change. So if you're ready for that commitment, click on the link, apply for it, fill in the short application form, and we'll have a discovery call. So I really want to hear how you get on. I'm really interested if you're interested in working together, and let me know how you get on with the heart focused breathing, or whatever else you choose to do consistently. Beth saying 3 time slots in my daily schedule for this type of thing: breathing, yoga, sitting in the sunshine. Sitting in the sunshine when we have it this time of year. I hear you. It's the sun's out, but it's been snowing today. I love sitting in the sunshine. Oh, I love driving in the sunshine as well, Beth. Taking a walk and listening to affirmations. I try to keep at the front of my mind that these are the times I choose to actively love myself. I like it. I like it too, Beth. I love that. That's brilliant. And this is the thing, like, we have those, we do have, and I can see that you're consciously doing that, and that's brilliant. And I think sometimes when we're not conscious, that we kind of already do have these things in place, those little mindful moments of going out for a walk in the sun, you know, and we have to celebrate all of them. You have to celebrate even if you're kind of like how I used to be, where I'd be at my desk for pretty much 14 hours a day. I was quite good at taking lunch, but then I would kind of spend that lunchtime talking to other people, helping other people, socializing. I kind of didn't really take any moments for myself. The drive home used to be that, actually. The drive to and from work would be that for me. But I didn't acknowledge how much I appreciated that. And it's acknowledging and celebrating how much you are already doing that really makes a difference. I never used to have that awareness, and now it's kind of like on autopilot. So now I have to remind myself that's what I'm doing, because it's helping me through it. And I hope that makes sense. You guys have been awesome today, and if you're listening to the replay, let me know what you think, and I will speak to you again soon. I'm gonna go. Bye guys.